Hello friends and welcome back to ReddX, your source for the freshest daily Reddit content anywhere on the internet. Today we are going to jump into r/relationships / r/relationship advice. Was that confusing? Was that too many slashes? Anyways, there's some interesting stories in here, including one that has been making the rounds on the internet about the Waffle House guy. You might have heard of it. I bet you've heard of it, but I still wanted to put it on my channel, so we're gonna jump into that. Even though it's deleted, I managed to find it. So, without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into these stories. I, 56 male, was looking forward to a quiet and peaceful life with my wife, 55 female, when the last of my children left home. But now, 2 of my children, 30 female and 28 male, their partners, and 5 of my grandchildren all live with us, and my wife won't hear a word about making them move out. My goodness, what a title. Sorry if this is poorly written. I've never used Reddit before. I was discussing the situation with my son, not one of those that lives with me, and he suggested making this post. I've always been an introverted man. My ideal night is a quiet one, in front of the TV with my wife. I loved raising my 3 kids, and I was sad to see them go when they left, but I was also happy that they were living their own lives, and I could now enjoy the peace and quiet that I hadn't gotten for a long time. All my children are married now. My eldest, 32 male, is living a successful life with his wife and children, but my daughter quickly lost her job and couldn't find a new one, and relied on her husband's, 31 male, wages, but had 3 children, 6 female, 5 male, 3 female, despite it not being financially viable. They fell behind on rent, and couldn't support themselves, so they moved in with my wife and I. Then my other son and his wife, 26 female, had children, 4 male, 1 female, and they made a lot of financially bad decisions, including buying an expensive car from an unreliable person. It turns out the car was stolen, and it was taken by the authorities, and my son lost a lot of money on it. They too couldn't keep up with the bills and looking after their children, so they moved in with us. My wife welcomed them with open arms. My wife enjoys the quiet life like me, but she's also more of an extrovert and loves having the kids and grandkids around. But this is a nightmare. I thought my days of being a parent and running after kids was over, but it feels like I'm doing it now more than ever. I shouldn't have to put up with this at my age. I've done my job as a parent, and I shouldn't have to do it again. I get no peace at all. I can't read a book for 5 minutes without being interrupted by a screaming child. It's horrible having 11 people crammed in one house. Granted, it's a big house, but still. Even going to the toilet is such a pain, because I always have to wait for multiples of my family members to go first. What's really annoying is that everyone else seems very happy with this arrangement. I know they're all looking for jobs, but I don't particularly see them putting in maximum effort to find somewhere else to stay. I am really reaching the end of my tether, and when I tried to talk to my wife about it, she was appalled with me, saying that you don't stop being a parent once your kids move out, and that I should help them in their time of need. I sort of feel like she's right, but at the same time, I just can't stand this anymore. What do I do? TLDR. Oh god, OP, I feel for you. I feel for you so hard, but your wife is right. You don't stop being a parent, you know? What recourse do you have, really, aside from getting your kids back on their feet and helping them fly the nest again? It's great of you to take them in, and yeah, it's not the ideal situation, and hopefully it will change at some point, but until that point, you just kind of got to stick it out, you know what I mean? You want to read a book for 5 minutes? Maybe you got to leave the house, you know? Yeah, the library might not be open because of the COVID thing, but you can find like a nice open field to sit in and just go chill out, you know, bring a little drink, a little sandwich with you, and just have your own nice little time. Granted, it's not as nice as being in your own house, but it seems like you are the one that invited them into the house. I guess you didn't really realize the ramifications. And I presume that because they are your kids, you know what I mean? Your wife isn't the one who said, hey, your kid lost their job, let's move them in. You're probably like, I want to be a good father and move them in. So, be a good father, kind of do what you gotta do, you know? That's part of being a dad. And just stick it out. Stick it out and push them in the right direction. This is a really tough one. I want to see what the comments have to say. This is such a tough situation. I'm sure everyone's trying to make the most of it, Try to sit the kids down and work through 2 plans. 1, you need breaks from chaos. That means your kids need to take the grandkids out of the house for long stretches at least a few days a week. Lots of things are still closed from coronavirus, but they can still go on hikes and picnics. They need a long-term commitment on finding work and moving out. This is stickier because the job market is so weird right now, but they need a plan. They need to work out budgets to figure out the minimum amount they need to make to afford an apartment and move out. Then apply for every single job in that salary range. You can do this. It's tough times for everyone, and it's good to watch out for your family, but you definitely need some relief. I actually like that better, getting the kids out of the house instead of, kicking the person that owns the house out into an empty field to eat a sandwich. That seems sad, doesn't it? The kids need to go out anyways, you know? Kids love going outside. To add on to that thought, perhaps this will spread out the discomfort a little. If the kids and grandkids are all loving this scenario and all of the discomfort is being borne by the OP, why would they have any urgency to leave? If OP can help to redistribute some of that discomfort and inconvenience to the kids and grandkids by instituting quiet times and mandatory field trips out of the house, then it might help give them a push to want their own space where they don't have to make any accommodations to others. OP shouldn't be the only one accommodating the needs of others. Dang, really good advice, Reddit. I mean, just like OP, I'm an extremely introverted person. I don't think that I would ever end up in this situation, but like, yeah, if my son is not succeeding in the real world, of course I don't want him to go live on the street, you know what I mean? Especially if we have a house that's big enough to accommodate him, just why not, you know? It's not the ideal situation, and I think that it is an extremely good point that all of the discomfort of the situation should not be borne by OP, because he was the one that was being generous and trying to help people and fix things, and it kind of ended up biting him in the ass. Like they say, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. I don't think that's the correct usage of that idiom, but you know where I'm coming from. Let me know what you guys think of the story in the comments, and we are going to move on to the next one. My wife, 28 female, and I, 30 male, are rowing about my brother-in-law's gift, a painting of us in medieval costume. So, my brother-in-law is a decent amateur artist, but nothing great. This Christmas, short of money, I imagine he's a PhD student, he decided to paint us a surprise gift. The painting is of my wife and I dressed as a medieval knight and lady. I've been told that it is because my wife likes the Ballad of Tamerlane, and I'm a fan of the Pre-Raphaelites. Both of those things are true, but I can't see their influence in it. So, firstly, while it does look like me and is flattering, it doesn't look like my wife at all, which she admits to an extent. It looks like a much older woman. Secondly, the people are a bit out of proportion. Secondly, again, that would be thirdly, OP. Thirdly, it looks like the kind of thing that incredibly self-possessed people in films might have. It's laughable to think someone might have a portrait of themselves on a wall dressed as a knight or a lady. I totally would. I'm not into the whole fantasy thing either. I'm absolutely certain that people will laugh at it and then laugh at us for it. On seeing it, my initial reaction was that he was trolling us, and that no one in their right mind could believe that we would actually want such a thing. He's been to our house and he knows that we are very choosy with our art, which is original, by professionals, and nothing like what he has given us. Apparently my wife thinks we should actually display it, but the mere sight of it makes me cringe. It is totally hateful to me. So, my wife is angry at my reaction because he's put a lot of work into it, which I won't deny. She wants an apology for being unpleasant. I need to clarify, he wasn't there when I first saw it. She brought it home. It's not a painting of a lion, okay? Yeah. I feel like if I back down, I'll have the damn thing on my wall, and I can't tolerate it being anywhere in view. I know it's unreasonable to actually ask her to throw it away, but I hard veto people being able to actually see it. Also, my reaction was honest. I do hate it. I'm willing to accept that he didn't do it deliberately, but I struggle to think of a gift that I could have received that I would hate less. Basically, I feel like it will make us the butt of a joke, and I don't want that happening in my own house. TLDR. Thoughts? Edit. Can't stress enough, I've not spoken to my brother-in-law about this. Just between my wife and I. Also, great for you if you would hang it up. I don't want to. It's my house, and I feel entitled to decorate it in my own way. It's my house, and I feel entitled to decorate it in my own way. Interesting. Where does your wife live, OP? I honestly think OP's being quite a jerk about this whole situation. I mean, it's great for a laugh. There's probably some things you could do with it to make it, like, pretty obvious that it's ironic, you know? My suggestion would probably be hang it up in the bathroom. That's where pieces of shit go, right? My buddy Nate had a velvet Elvis painting that we ended up hanging in the bathroom of the very first apartment that we shared. Because we both knew it was ugly. We both knew that we hated it, but there was just something funny about it, so we hung it up in the bathroom. A picture of me in medieval knight's armor? That's inherently hilarious. I don't think the brother-in-law meant to do it as, like, something funny, but if that's really how you feel about it, then I would hang it ironically somewhere in your house. Even in a closet, you know? Just hang it in the closet. There has to be a compromise, you know? This is your wife's brother. He is going to come to your house at some point, and he's going to be like, oh, hey, where's that painting that I spent 80 hours painting for you? I applaud your wife for standing up, honestly. Because I'm sure your brother-in-law did work very hard on it, and apparently you don't know how to accept a gift, even if it's a gift that you don't like. You say, gosh, thank you so much. I don't know, this situation seems pretty cut and dry to me, but I don't think OP and I have the same sense of humor, so let's see what the comments have to say about it. Scout is my dog says, I'm into modern art, sculpture, and furniture. My things aren't overly expensive, but they are well thought out. Much of my art is one of a kind, hand-created. I have a few friends who are professional artists, and I bought the rest. One day, one of my best friends and ex-college roommates, who I don't see too often, asked me if I liked a certain quote. It's that one about God grant me courage, and I said yes, not really thinking. 6 months later, she presents me with a fairly large framed needlepoint of the entire quote. Now, I'm picky, and I hate anything old or country looking, and I don't really have any religious type items in my home. But I love my friend, and she was so excited and hopeful that I would love that thing. I had no idea why she would think that I would like something like that, but then I thought about how she must have worked on that thing at night after a long day at work and on weekends instead of going out with friends, and how hard it must have been cramping up her fingers, keeping all the materials clean and together, taking it to a shop and getting it framed. I still hated it, but I did put it up in my office. I hate it every time I look at it. I had several people ask me if I'm an alcoholic. I guess it's a famous quote in AA circles. I hated that thing for a long time, but I also thought about how much my friend cared about me when I looked at it. Slowly, somehow, over the years, my appreciation for my friendship overtook my dislike for the gift, and now I would never think about putting it away. I can't imagine telling my friend that I hated the gift initially. Anyways, maybe that's how your wife feels. You should ask her. I really do like this comment, you know. I think that given time, OP could learn to accept, maybe not love, but accept the gift. Unfortunately, I don't think that his ego would step aside for long enough to allow him to do that. It's like, oh no, what will people think? Who gives a shit, dude? This lady had a gift that made people think she was an alcoholic, and she still hung it up. It's just you in a suit of armor. Honestly, I would love to have that gift. If you send it to me, I'll hang it up in my house. How about that? Whoop Whoop says, I don't know, man. Maybe I'm just weird, but it sounds like a pretty cool, hilarious gift. See? Sure, something you'd probably hang on a bathroom door because it fits absolutely nowhere, but still. OMG, that's the perfect spot for it, really. If I went into someone's bathroom and saw that hanging in there, I would instantly think they were awesome people. That's amazing. I think that's a pretty good rule of thumb, you know? All crappy art goes in the bathroom. It should be a law or something. I probably spent far too long on this one, but it is quite an interesting thought experiment. So let me know what you guys would do, and let's jump into that last story. The one you've all been waiting for. I'm a 29-year-old female. My 29-year-old male boyfriend keeps getting into fights with a cook at Waffle House. I know this sounds really weird, but here it is. My boyfriend and I have been together for 3 years. We met and started dating when we were both in graduate school, but I dropped out to go back to college to pursue a different career. We're both finished now and living together, making a fairly nice combined income. Our income is relevant because we could afford to eat somewhere nice when we're out and about, but he always wants breakfast food. When he was a child, his dad couldn't stand eating breakfast-type food in the afternoon or evenings, so his mom would make him waffles and pancakes or eggs and bacon in the evening whenever his dad was busy or out of town. It's a wonderful and safe memory for him, and when he goes to his happy place, he says that's where he always goes. My boyfriend is an incredibly nice and caring person. He's emotionally tuned into everyone and recognizes arising issues a long time before they occur. He loves animals and is gentle and kind with every bug, bird, and pet that he comes across. He's almost always willing to turn the other cheek in social situations when someone tries to insult him or get aggressive towards him, and usually winds up diffusing the situation and having a productive discussion about whatever the issue was. Except at Waffle House. Anytime we're out, he wants to go to the same goddamn Waffle House to get breakfast food. I'm not a big eater, so I used to not really care. I would just drink my coffee and read my book while he enjoyed his food. But that became impossible once he and this cook started chirping at each other every time he went there. Boyfriend complained about his eggs one time, because he likes them a little runny, and they were served hard. The cook responded by giving him scrambled eggs. When he brought it up again, the cook served him 2 hard-boiled eggs. I think it was just part of the cook's shtick, and it was kind of funny to be honest, but my boyfriend wasn't able to laugh it off. When we left, he was in kind of a bad mood, but we didn't really talk about it. The next week, we were out getting some shopping done, and he wanted to go to Waffle House again. I suggested that we try out a different place, or at least a different Waffle House location, but he only wanted the same Waffle House. We went in and sat down, and once again, the same cook served his eggs wrong. My boyfriend sort of snapped at him that he wasn't interested in messing around, and just wanted the correct eggs. The cook then served him a piece of toast with a hole cut out in the middle and a fried egg in it. My boyfriend got really mad and threw the egg toast at the cook, which made the cook come around from behind the bar and throw it back at him. They ended up sort of wrestling/fighting until my boyfriend was like, "This is bullshit," and walked out. Nobody got hurt, but the few other people in there were watching and laughing a bit. This is the crazy part. My boyfriend keeps going back and ordering eggs and getting into fistfights with the same cook. It's almost a ritual at this point. My boyfriend orders runny eggs, the cook serves him some other version of eggs, and then they beat the shit out of each other. I quit going with him after the second fight, but he keeps going by himself. They're like Peter and the giant chicken from Family Guy. It's the weirdest thing. They physically fought like 6 or 7 times over this. I've tried to talk to him about it a few times, but he keeps saying it's a matter of principle. I've told him to talk to the manager or something like that, but he just waves me off. Apparently that cook hasn't yet made him the correct runny eggs, but it's like he spends the week learning new ways of preparing eggs to piss my boyfriend off. Oh, it's a Seinfeld episode plot if I've ever seen one. The thing is, we're getting married this summer. He's accepted a job in a new city, and it'll be easy for me to find work after the wedding, so we'll be moving away from his sworn enemy, Waffle House guy. He hasn't really been out since the quarantine started, but it wouldn't surprise me if that's the first place he goes when restaurants open back up for sitting customers. My main worry is this strange vindictive side of him that I've never seen before that leads him to fight the same guy every week. The violence itself is an issue for me, but the obsession over it almost bothers me more. Should I be worried that this side of him will come up later in our marriage? How do I get him to open up about this? Is this type of obsession a choice, or is it indicative of something deeper? The first rule about Waffle Club is you don't talk about Waffle Club. I have no idea if this story is actually true, but every fiber of my being wants it to be true. It's just so hilarious. I mean, the cook is definitely screwing with him. You could so easily tell that after the dude's like, I want runny eggs, and he brings out 2 hard-boiled eggs. Like, okay, this guy's just taking the piss, you know? And he probably does research. He probably does research all week long on, like, how to cook different eggs just to get this guy pissed off. Oh, the toast with the egg in it, I think it's called Toad in the Hole or something like that. That's so hilarious. Oh, if this is not real, then this is one of the most creative fake stories that I've read in a very long time. Part of me believes it's actually real. Maybe it is just like, you know, some pent-up aggression that they feel the need to get out by beating the crap out of each other and wrestling in the middle of a restaurant. A lot of people in the comments also pointing out, like, homoerotic tendencies and stuff like this. And as per usual, there are some pretty insightful comments that I'm too stupid to make myself. So let's jump into the comment section and check it out. Embarrassed Brain. What an apt username. I'm sure your mom has dealt with crazier and has some good advice for you. It sounds like your boyfriend holds on to a certain issue or anger and needs a way to let it out. You can suggest he join a course when social distancing is lifted and use his energy in a non-threatening environment. Or have that awkward talk again and tell him that it's making you feel uncomfortable. If he continues, then honestly I'm not sure what to say, because it is such a strange behavior to want to fight one specific person over and over again instead of just moving on to another restaurant. OP says, thanks for this. You're probably right about the anger thing. I think there are some issues with his dad that he hasn't been willing to talk about yet. It gets a little uncomfortable when we're watching movies and there's a scene where a dad hits his kid or something like that. My previous attempts to talk to him have been ignored, with just him being like, oh, it's this funny thing I do, but he's actually fist fighting a guy wearing an apron with hash browns sizzling behind him every week. I guess I'll give it another shot. If there was some abuse in the father and son relationship and breakfast food was something special done only when dad was away, it's possible that boyfriend is conflating getting the order wrong with that childhood abuse and transferring his anger at his dad onto the cook. Kind of like, dad wouldn't let me have this food. Cook isn't letting me have this food. Dad equals cook. Yeah, it's not logical, but a traumatized brain doesn't operate logically, and he may not even realize that his brain has made that connection. He just has a sudden emotional reaction and needs to strike out and punish the one who's causing it. God, Alice with wings? Big brain comment. I wouldn't have drawn that conclusion. Either way, the saga of Waffle House guy will probably be over when the boyfriend moves away, so we can all rest easier. But yeah, in the bottom of my heart, I believe that if this story is real, it mostly is happening because it's just fun for both of them. You know what I mean? Who doesn't want a buddy that you can go and fight for no reason? I mean, over eggs, but that's basically no reason. Once a week, I go to Fight Club, and the Fight Club takes place at the Waffle House, and it's just me and one other guy. But we beat the crap out of each other, and we feel so much better afterwards. It's weird. It's kind of like a guy thing, you know what I mean? Me and my best friend Nate used to get drunk and punch each other, so yeah, I get it. There's there's a certain level of frustration with society and anger and rage, and you can't really do anything about it except for punch something. So it's not the most constructive thing, it's not encouraged by society, but if you can find somebody who's willing to participate, then yeah, go ahead. Why not? But anyways, friends, I appreciate you participating. Super long episode, but let me know if you like these longer ones, because I can basically do whatever I want now. I hope you like, comment, and or subscribe. If you did enjoy, let me know what you thought. Also, don't forget to check out the links in the description. We've got Twitter, we've got Discord, we've got Patreon. And as always, a big shout out to my patrons, Crimson Albedo, Nico the Legend, Radimus Cisco, Damon Darkstar, and Lady Nix. If you'd like to sign up, help me get some bills paid, that would be massively appreciated. You also get some pretty cool rewards in the process. I'm trying to do these videos as consistently as I can, but I got a lot of stuff on my plate. I run another channel that's about, you know, gaming stuff. And then there's also my real job, which is like customer service / blogging stuff. So I'm trying to keep it all balanced, and that's not the easiest thing in the world sometimes. You know how it goes. But I appreciate your patience, guys. Thank you for coming on the very long journey, probably, to find me here. And I will see you in the next ones. Don't forget to wash your hands. Stay safe out there. Let's fight that coronavirus together. And I'll catch you next time. So until then, friends. Bye-bye.